But we always like on Thursdays to kind of bring forth the question that he picked as the highlight question of the week.
Always enjoy it. Thank you.
I love this question.
Susan in Toledo.
Thank you, Susan, for writing in.
Dear Most Reverend Thomas, my family and I are doing the Litany of Trust and the Litany of Humility, which I've never heard of, by the way.
Oh, my.
We find it very helpful to pray this devotion. Are there any other devotions you would recommend to increase our trust in God?
Beautiful.
Thank you, Susan.
Folks, just the fact that Ron said that he's never heard of it, no, I mean this sincerely.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Susan, for asking the question, because that means there's lots of folks who are watching or listening who also have not heard of it.
Right.
And this is an enrichment, I think, for their spiritual lives in prayer. So, Ron, I would humbly recommend, pun intended, Litany of Humility. I would humbly recommend that you consider those. And, Susan, thanks so much. And what a gift to hear that you and your family are doing already, praying the Litany of Trust and Litany of Humility. I love both of those. The Litany of Humility it actually was written by Cardinal Mary del Val, and it is one of my absolute favorite litanies. So I would strongly recommend that to our viewers and listeners. And the beautiful Litany of Trust, I imagine, Susan, the one that you're doing, is the one that was written, I believe, by the Sisters of Life. And I love that litany as well. Very beautiful. So what are some of the others I would recommend? And I just have these sort of visuals here for you if you're on video. So one of them, honestly, that I did not know, Susan, until more recently, is this litany. Actually, it's called the Surrender Novena. And I would recommend you're looking at that. I know several people, lay people, clergy, even bishops, who have told me that it changed the way they pray. So I would humbly suggest the Surrender Novena and the popular prayer, "O Jesus, I surrender myself to you, take care of everything." And it's from, his name is Don Dolindo, who was known by Saint Padre Pio. So it's a very, now becoming increasingly popular novena. And then two others that I would suggest for you, Susan. Another one of my favorite prayers, especially for those who are familiar with Father Charles de Foucauld, and there are beautiful cenacles of prayer and priest groups that follow Father Charles de Foucauld. It's called the Prayer of Abandonment. It begins, "Father, I abandon myself into your hands. Do with me what you will." A very beautiful prayer for your consideration. And finally, of course, the Ignatian prayer, the Suscipe, "Take, Lord, receive all my liberty, my memory, my understanding." So those are just some, and by the way, that's the prayer I prayed on the floor when I was ordained a deacon, priest, and bishop. Those are some prayers I would recommend to you, Susan, and not only to you, but to all our viewers and listeners.